Hi, I'm Sonnet and I'm with Sonnet's Garden Blooms. I want to welcome you all to my channel. Now today is going to be another DIY for resale. So I'm prepping my booths for the holidays and I am just coming up with different ideas, items that have sold for me in the past and new items. So today is going to be 4 projects that I have come up with. I had a few others. There was a little snags along the way. That will be in Friday's video. So I hope you enjoy today's video, and if you do like videos like this, DIY, thrift hauls, thrift flips, a day in the life of a small business owner, then you have found your channel. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification, which is that little bell. You'll be notified every Monday and Friday when I do release a video. And tell me in the comments, what was your favorite item today? And if you love the video, go ahead, give me a like, and I hope you guys enjoy. To start the projects today, we are going to make 2 signs. So we are going to make, if you had watched a previous video, I did a home sign. And today we're going to do a joy sign. So I did bring a couple of these to Cranberry Fest, and I did not bring enough because they sold out within the first couple hours. So I want to add a few of these to my booth. So we're going to start with at Cranberry Fest, I just had red letters, but I want to do the green letters and the red letters. So for the red, I'm going to use the crimson, and for the green, I'm going to use the fern. So here we're going to go and get started.
I'm driving down an empty freeway, no waiting for the light to change. I'm seeing the sunrise behind me.
So just like I did with my home signs, I took 2 boards and then created a cross member. I do screw them in to give it the most stability, and then I take twine and I paint it so you can't see it, and then I take twine and wrap it around. But first, before I do that, and I also want to make note, I always finish off the back of the signs as well. It just gives it takes just a little bit longer, and honestly, it's a huge pet peeve of mine when people don't do that. So I wanted to make note of that, and just as you saw, I painted these green, and basically what I do is I just lay them out and eyeball it up just to make sure it's all nice and even, and I'll do that with the other as well for the red. And then what we're gonna do once it's all eyeballed up and it's perfect, we'll take the E6000 glue, and guess what, you guys, I got the clear this time. I don't know if you remember from one of my last videos, I didn't even know they made white, and I got white and I was having a meltdown, but anyways, I'm going to take this, glue it down. Once I have them glued down, then I'll show you how I wrap the twine, but I think these are going to be awesome in my booth. Here's the twine that I'll be using. I found it at the local Walmart. I liked it because it was nice and thick. I am using my staple gun to put 2 staples in to adhere it, and I do wrap the twine around roughly 6 times. I do that to make sure that I'm giving proper coverage. I just don't want those screws to stand out in any way, shape, or form, just so it covers that. Plus, I just think it adds a little bit more character to the sign by having the twine there. After I get done wrapping it, then I'm going to put 2 more staples in the back on the other side to hold the twine. Very easy, and if you don't like how it is, you can just pull the staples and resituate the twine. And then I didn't show a video of this, but I did put a piece of ribbon on top of each of the signs as well. So I wrapped it around the twine a bit and I tied a ribbon. So just to add a little bit more to each of the signs. Now, if you remember from one of my haul videos, I did find these 3 picture frames. They did say Christmas 2016. The original price on these, the person was asking $30. I am using the Crimson Waverly. It's amazing that paint is almost an exact match to what was on these picture frames. So I did actually 3 coats of Waverly to cover up that Christmas 2016. What I wish I would have done is I wish I would have sanded it just to try to sand off some more of that white. Maybe then I would not have needed to do 3 coats. And then eventually at first I was going to leave those bows. There's like a bow attached to it on the top. I was going to leave those and reuse it, but then one of the bows I noticed was kind of funky and I wanted them all to be very similar. So I just pulled the bow off. It was actually attached with a zip tie. There's like a hole and it was all attached with a zip tie. So there's a bit of twine. I undid the twine and I just pulled the bow. It was just stuck in there. So I did that, and then, like I said, I just put 3 coats of Waverly paint on here, and it really, I just can't believe how close in color it was. Once it dries, it was almost an exact match. So here is what the signs, or they're not signs, they're frames look like. So it did cover that completely. And I still have the twine left. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a different bow in here, and then we're going to tie this back up to add a little bit for that. So what I decided is I'm going to put on each of these, I'm going to stamp on here family. And I am going to do it in the white from IOD. So let's go ahead and ink up our stamps. And then, like I said too, that I noticed with the white, it just stays a little tacky, so I always do a clear coat on here as well. So we're just gonna set it down and we're gonna just gently rub over each letter to transfer that ink on there. Perfect. And then I'll do it for this one. And it's as simple as that. So I did pay $2.99 for these, and I love the transformation. I think they turned out awesome. So let's go ahead, add the bow next. The last step for this frame is we're gonna take this ribbon that I have. It's just a big roll of ribbon. I got it probably at like the Hobby Lobby. And we're going to just fold like so. We're gonna cut the ribbon. And then there's a little loop here, and we're gonna just feed this through the loop. And I'm gonna trim this side. I always like to have it kitty corner on both of them. Just tuck that under. And then there is the string, so I'm just going to tie that like so. And then I'm going to tie a bow here, just like they had it. And then we're gonna fix this bow. And there you have it. And I love how this turned out. I think it looks super cute with the buffalo check. And then the very last step, I should say, is we have to put this back in the back. And then it's set to go for selling. One other side note is that buffalo check, I was wondering if it was going out. But honestly, at Cranberry Fest, it was still in full bore. So people were still buying it, and I don't think it's out. So I was really worried because I had a lot of buffalo check fabric and ribbon, and it was, it's been the in thing for so long. So it is not going out that I see. So there you have it. I've been doing a lot of cutting of boards, prepping for Cranberry Fest, and I had a bunch of these size boards in the garage, and I love to use all the wood that I have available. So here I'm taking my distressing mixture that I use to distress my barn quilts. It's my own little signature item that I use at the very end. It took me a while to come up with this, and it's kind of like a little bit of a trade secret. So I use that. I love how it goes on. It dries a lot quicker. It also, just the coverage is so much nicer than just a solid stain. So I did that to these 6 boards. And then I'm going to let them dry. Typically, I do let these dry for several days, but because I was getting ready for this, I let them dry for a day, and then I just put a quick clear coat on them to make sure that it was completely dry, and then we did the next step. So here's the next step. I divided it into each board into 3. So this is one of my favorite rulers, since you can see directly through it. But I marked it with a little marker, each like a third. And then I taped it off with blue tape, and then I did use the Waverly white paint. And I did that on each of these. So I'm going to let these each dry, and then from there what I'm going to do is, I love that distressed look. I'm just going to take my sander and I'm just going to sand over it real quick and just give it a little rustic look to it, just to shabby up that white, just to make it a little bit more rustic looking. So let's get these dry, and then I'll show you what they look like after they are shabbied. I have them all sanded, and now I have this font. It is not IOD, it's just a set of stamps that I had available, but I am using the IOD permanent ink. So I'm doing the same thing I would do with any of the stamps, and I'm inking them. And I am going to centerize that and then gently rub over each of the letters so you can see how nice and clean that came out. This is one of, I really wish actually IOD would come out with a set of stamps, letters that are a little bit smaller for smalls. So I know that that's what they're doing for their transfers. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they will do that for the actual set of stamps too. So you can see I did not like how that looked. So when the ink is still wet, you are able to wipe it off and then reapply. So that's what I'm doing here. Overall, I love how these turned out, and I used a couple different sayings. So for the last step here, I have a bunch of different ribbons. I'm going to take 3 different ribbons and I'm going to attach them using my staple gun. I absolutely love how these turned out. I think they're super cute. And I love too how you can bend them like that and make, I love ribbon, I guess I should say, with wire in there. So you can bend it, and that way when you're putting it on the tree too, you can have it adhere to one of the branches that much easier. So for this very last project, I had these little boards since last year. I had an idea last year what I wanted to do. I wanted to make these little signs, and I painted them all up. I shabbied them with my sander. I distressed them with my sander. So that's what I did last year. And then now I am going to add different sayings with the farmhand font. And I love it because it reminds me so much of Ray Dunn, that font. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come up with a couple different sayings, and I'm going to stamp it on here. And you're going to see how cute these all turned out. I love them. And so, and I do absolutely love this white ink from IOD. The one thing that I would recommend doing, and I do that with the white, does seem a little tacky. So what I do after I stamp it on, I do clear coat that with just a clear Rust-Oleum spray paint. So, like I said, I absolutely love it.
I'm driving down an empty freeway. No waiting for the light to change. I'm seeing the sunrise behind.
So what was your favorite item? I love using scrap wood. I hate wasting anything. So when I have these little pieces of scrap sitting around and I can come up with an idea to use it for, I'm all about it. This one has been on my brain for a year. This one I just came up with, but again, I had the ends, when I'm making those stars, the leftover piece was like this. So I just kept stacking them, and I'm thinking, what can I do with a little piece? And my husband's always like, let's burn it. I'm like, okay. So I made these cute little hangers. And then this one, again, it was when I first started dabbling with IOD a year ago. I think that's why too, they never got finished last year. So happy that I was able to get them accomplished this year and in my booths, or they will be in my booths, and I'm gonna do my flip in a week. I'm going to start with the yield goat. We're gonna flip the goat, then we're gonna do antique up and Water Street Vintage. So Water Street Vintage should be the easiest since it is the smallest. The other two booths are gonna be a little bit of a challenge, but that I'm willing and ready for that. But Friday's video is all going to be about trees. So the trees were supposed to be part of this video. Unfortunately, they tested me a little bit, so they will be part of Friday's videos. It's going to be all tree related. So I can't wait to show you guys what I came up with next. And I want you all to have a wonderful week, and we'll see you Friday. Bye.